Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube, or outside of my YouTube, you can consider joining the Discord I've created. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That is a great place for you guys to check out some of the meals and recipes that I've been enjoying as I've been working towards my weight loss goal. Today is day 942 of my challenge to lose 300 pounds. So far, through a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, I have been able to lose nearly 255 pounds. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share with us today, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you are succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing to succeed. Share that with everybody. If you're struggling, let us know what's causing your struggles. Maybe it's something we can help you with or something that we've dealt with ourselves. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go ahead and switch over to the main screen here. We got a few people checking in. Hello. Carrie's first one in today. Hello, Carrie. Christy, Our Tiny Acres. Aunt Day's Kitchen says, wow, you haven't been on your lives in so long. Yes, it's been a long time since we've seen you here. I hope everything's going great for you. You look amazing. Thank you very much. It might have been since I shaved that I've seen you here. So yeah, it's a little bit of a different look for me now. But yeah, I hope everything's going wonderful for you. Let's see. Carrie, glad to see Aunt Day's Kitchen here. Yes, absolutely. Pretty Girl's Mom, hello, family. Hello. Jay says, hey, Jonathan, was looking for you Friday, was in Pittsburgh all day yesterday. Yes, Friday live streams are sometimes hit or miss for me. I kind of weigh it's do a live stream or get home an extra hour early for the weekend. And a lot of times getting home an extra hour for the weekend wins out. And the weekends are generally pretty busy. Our kids have things going on. So Friday live streams are always hit or miss, but I'm glad you caught me here today. Yes. So that's awesome. Let's see. Jean saying hello, Jean. Hello, Cindy. Hope everybody had a great afternoon. The weather around here has been amazing, and just perfect. I know our kids got out into the swimming pool yesterday, and they had intentions of getting out in the swimming pool today. I don't know if that happened or not for them. Let's see. So today is weigh-in Wednesday, the day of the week where I hop on the scale and I check and see what my weight is doing. And I hopped on the scale today and my weight was up by a little under 2 pounds. And it is frustrating to see my weight go up. It is to be expected. I'm 943 days into my diet. My body has done lots of equalizing with the food that I'm eating and adapting to the volume and the content of food that I eat right now. And so I'm going to have weeks where I bounce up, and I'm just looking forward to re-losing this 6 pounds or 4 pounds, I guess, that I gained in the last couple weeks. So it's just a momentary blip on the scale that really could be attributed to a lot of different factors as well. It's not, 2 pounds of body fat that I've added to my weight. It's likely 2 pounds of food that's in my digestive tract, or possibly more water that I'm retaining or holding on my body than I normally do. So I'm not too concerned about it, and I'll go a little bit more into that a little bit later, I suppose, here. Jay says weight loss Wednesday. It was not weight loss Wednesday today, unfortunately, but it was weigh in Wednesday. If any of you guys hopped on the scale and lost some weight or gained some weight, I'd love to hear how you guys are doing on your weight loss progress or working towards your weight loss goals. And, I talked a lot. I talked a little bit about it on stream, and I talked a lot about it yesterday, is that this focus of this challenge went from losing 300 pounds and it really went more towards the focus of, making health a priority for the 3-year period. When I first started, the big driving factor was the losing 300 pounds. And I thought, I'll get there by making sure I make healthy decisions for at least 3 years. And now that I am 940 plus days in, I realize how important that time commitment was over the weight commitment. It's committed to eating this way and staying on this diet that is going to get me where I want to be in the end. There's not really any shortcuts or hacks that you can do. It just takes the time it takes to lose the weight. And there are things that you can do to speed it up, but that comes at a cost. There's and I right now, a big focus for me was to do this through diet, and that's what I'm going to do is through diet. Our Tiny Acre says your scale quit working and new ones are weighing you more. Yeah, it's a tool, and every tool is going to measure a little bit different than the next tool in some ways. We have at work here, we have to ship packages and we have to weigh the packages on a scale. And, when you put the same package on 2 different scales, it's going to be 2 different weights. But again, it's just really an arbitrary number. If the number is frustrating you, switch your scale over to kilograms and then it'll be smaller. That'll help. But just realize that the scale is a tool. It's not what's going to get you to where you want to go. It's not, the scale isn't making you lose weight. It's the choices that you make day to day that cause your weight loss. But yes, that is frustrating when you get on a scale and it's a little bit more. Jay says, don't give up. Oh no, there's no giving up. I mean, I'm 940 days in. Like, that's something that I am really proud that I've been able to do this for that long. And I'm not likely to give it up anytime soon. Pretty Girl's mom says you finally got the battery for your scale. Intending to do a monthly weigh-in, not terribly happy with the number, but I know now what to do to make it better. And I know that the scale can be difficult and it can be frustrating, and you can want to throw it out because it doesn't do what you want it to do. But I do believe that weighing in more often is going to help you with your weight loss. You're going to be more on top of what you're eating if you are regularly weighing it. And if you don't want to regularly weigh it, you don't have to. But I believe that it's beneficial. The studies that I've heard about say that it's beneficial to weigh in more often or more regularly. And again, it's also how, you know, you do have to weigh it, you know, how how it messes with you psychologically if you have a history with it. You know, my history with the scale has been a very relaxed one. You know, I was a wrestler in high school. I had to weigh in all of the time, but I weighed it. I was a heavyweight wrestler that had a high weight limit, so I was never stressed about my weight. I was most likely going to hop on the scale and make weight. So I do have a different relationship than many people have with the scale, and I understand that. But it changes your decisions that you make. If you know that you're up 0.2 of a pound or 0.4 of a pound, then you are going to make slight changes in your choices the rest of that day. And over the series of an extended period of time, that is going to result in increased weight loss versus trying to do it intuitively, I guess would be the best way to say that. Cindy here says, personally, your scale goes up and down with the same 2 pounds. It gets frustrating eating low calorie density and not overeating. Yeah, you know, and I don't know how far you are from it and how, you know, I've been very lucky that the weight goes down in big chunks, but it also goes up in chunks, and it's a slow process. You know, the first 200 pounds was awesome. I lost 200 pounds in the first year. And so now I've really only lost the next 60 pounds in the following 2 years. And so it's been 30, 40 pounds a year the past 2 years, or year and a half, I guess. And it's slowly chipping away though. And it really the consistency with the diet. It is, when it's perfect, when the diet's on, I see really good success. And it can be stalled very quickly, and it's frustrating how quickly it can be stalled. But the biggest thing that I hold on to is that it's never rebounded. I've never lost control of it. And that is something that I've never been able to say about any diet in the past. You know, I did lose that 200 pounds in the first year, but there's never been a time in my life where I've lost whatever amount of weight in a year. You know, let's say it was, you know, a time where I lost 50 pounds or the time I lost 120 pounds. That, you know, it was amazing that I lost that amount of weight within a year period or 6-month period or however long I did it. But if I fast forward a year later, I never maintained that weight loss. You know, when I lost 115 pounds in 2013, you know, by 2015, I was back up to nearly the weight I was when I started. And so I never maintained any weight loss. And that is something that I absolutely hold on to, the fact that I've maintained the weight loss. I've maintained all of the non-scale victories I've talked about in the past 940 days. I've been able to maintain all of them. I haven't lost any of those non-scale victories. And so that is something that I really hold on to a lot as well. Our Tiny Acre says your garden is starting to produce and you love it. Yes, we've had some flowers blooming in our yard. Our fruit trees are starting to, they've had buds or, you know, starting to grow some fruit on them. So that's great. Jean says you're up 2 pounds, but am now at the highest weight in the normal BMI category for you. And so that's great. That's my goal. You know, I've never even been considered overweight in my adult life. So to get to a normal BMI range, that would be huge for me. And being able to maintain that is a big part of why, I think this diet is great, because it helps you maintain your weight loss. Jay says you weigh in on Wednesdays and Sundays. Yeah. And you're keeping yourself honest, or you're keeping up on what is happening. And I think that I think it helps me a lot. You know, I weigh in every day except for Saturday and Sunday, and the days that I gain the most weight are Saturdays and Sundays. So, you know, it's also my routine is different, and lots of other things change on the weekends that cause the fluctuation. Let's see. Gene here says your bike rides are a big factor for now. Happens this way every year, but now you're in the lower weight than you were in the past. Yeah. So yeah, you're coming up into the summer and yeah, being more active. I'm excited about the increase in activity I plan on having this summer. And so I'm excited about that. Did I miss? I must have missed a comment. Do I have this on? What did I miss? Sorry. I feel like I missed a comment here. But Cindy here says you're 19 pounds from your ideal BMI. You've lost 98 pounds. That's awesome. 98 pounds. I'm sure that it's extremely frustrating to be that 2 pounds away from 100. I'm sure that is adding to the frustration, because that's where that happens to me really at every kind of milestone I hit. You know, trying to get under 300 took me forever, and it was very frustrating. And then getting under 275, and then now getting to that 260 pound, or the 259.9, getting to that halfway. I was right there. I like touched it, and then I gained a couple pounds the last couple weeks, and it makes it even more frustrating because you're so close to a milestone like that. But that's awesome that you've lost 98 pounds and you're 19 pounds away from your ideal BMI. And if you just continue to eat this way, you're going to get there. And that's what the best part about, I feel like, this diet is for me, is that just keep doing this. You don't have to start increasing your activity or lowering your volume or starting to remove a bunch of other things. You just change what you eat. You don't eat less food. You just eat less calorie dense food. You can still eat a large volume. You just change what you're eating. Let's see here. Yeah, Cindy says these final few are the toughest. Yeah, and that's, you know, I still got 46 pounds to go. And I know that they are going to be tough to do, but I'm excited to do it. Like, that's something that I've never had with the diet. You know, every diet I've ever been on, I've been so relieved to finish the diet, to get off the diet. And I don't have that same feeling about this way of eating. Lynette here says that she is also at the highest end of the normal BMI. That's awesome. Let's see. Our Tiny Acre says that your our Tiny Acre sweetie has been going for our bike rides with you before he goes to work, getting some exercise in. That's awesome. Yes. It was fun getting on the bike and doing a little bit of a bike ride the other day. I'm going to have to get out and do that again. I have a buddy of mine that has really been bugging me about getting out and riding the bike with him. So I might have to do some bike riding this summer and see how that goes. Let's see. Jay here says maybe do Mary's Mini to lose 10 pounds in 10 days. You know, I'm not exactly sure what Mary's Mini is. I know I've looked it up, or I've seen what Mary's Mini is. I think that those programs are great, you know, and doing those things help reset. But what I find is that eating a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet is further than any of these programs go as far as what they have. And so if I stick to my diet, it's like, in my opinion, I guess you get rid of the flour and the alcohol that Chef AJ adds with her sofas, but the there's not a cleaner diet. You can mono diet, you can do juice fasting, or you can try to eat maybe raw, but the diet that I eat, there's it's the cleanest diet I could possibly eat. And so that's really uh what I hold on to with it. And when I have these kind of fluctuations, a lot of times I can point to kind of specific things, like as weird as it is, I had very little amount of salt 2 weekends ago, and it screwed up my weight, and it's caused my body to take time to recover from having that small amount of salt. But it's what I have found. And that will likely happen to me anytime I have salt throughout the rest of my diet and when I get down to my goal weight. But the yeah, I'm not in. Yeah, it's good. So let's see. Plants Only Muncher says, "Hi everyone, checking in late. No problem, Plants Only Muncher. We're just kind of chilling. Actually, not that late. I started really late. I didn't start till 5 o'clock. I had a busy afternoon with work and guys out. It's been that time of year where things get real crazy. I actually didn't even talk about food since yesterday. I'll run through that here real quick. And Jay says potato, vegetables, and 2 fruits a day. That's pretty much my diet every day. I guess oatmeal. um, and Gene says you hung out at the 170s and 60s for about 10 weeks each, starting over again with the ups and downs. Just remind yourself to stay with the program, and it will eventually give into weight losses. Absolutely. Thinking as it is goes down, it will take more weeks for weight loss. Yes, and that's where we get so excited about that big weight loss that we have at the very beginning. And you start doing the math. I don't know how many times I have redone the math with this weight loss of how many more pounds do I have to lose in the next X number of days to reach my goal weight by the goal period of time. Because when I first started this challenge, my big focus was to do it within 3 years. And I would still love to lose the weight within 3 years. It's still possible that it would happen that I lose the weight within 3 years. But I don't care if I lose the weight within 3 years anymore. That has changed. But I did the numbers so many times when I first started. When I did the water fast and I lost 90 pounds in 42 days. Think of that. Look at that speed of weight loss. Well, if I would have just fasted for another 42 days, or I guess I would have had to have fasted for nearly 80 days at this 80 more days to get to the weight loss that I've gotten to at this point. But it's not linear. It doesn't go straight down. So I may have lost that 90 pounds in 40 days, but I also lost 30 of those pounds in the first 2 weeks. And so as time goes on, that curve starts to flatten out, or the slope starts to flatten out the longer that you're trying to do it. But having that goal of losing 300 pounds, getting to this unbelievable weight in my mind, has kept me focused, has kept me going. If I would have said, I just want to lose 100 pounds, I'd have been done within the first 50 days. If I'd have said, I just want to lose 200 pounds, I would have been done within the first year. And, because I said I want to lose 300 pounds, I want to get to a healthy weight, it is pushed it to 3 years, 3.5, 4 years, whatever it takes to do it. But I'm willing to take the time to do it. Colleen says, been super committed to their workouts and about 60% on your diet. A lot better than April and March were. Yes, it's really about getting that diet to 100%. Working out can help subsidize a poor diet. I think that's what a lot of us do, is we work out to make up for the effects of our diet. But I, sticking to the diet, and that's where that getting to the goal happens. If you're 60% committed to the diet, you might only get 60% of the way there, and so the closer you get to that 100% commitment to the diet, the closer you're going to get to 100% to the way there. But the working out is going to help you out throughout it, and it's going to make you healthier, your heart healthier, and keep things in check for you. Cindy here says that you think Chef AJ stated it took her 27 months to lose 50 pounds. It's about health, not a number in a certain amount of time frame. Yes, it's really hard to not give it a time frame. Well, many times all my diets were, I got this event coming up in 6 months. I got this thing coming up. I want to lose weight for this event that there's a timeline of it happening. But yeah, you got to change the mindset of being healthier is the focus. The weight will come off. If I lived the rest of my life at 266 pounds, but I continued to eat the way that I am eating, I don't see, it would be the healthiest way possible for me to eat. It wouldn't be my diet that causes me to die prematurely. Let's see here. Gene says the calculations are affirmations of the plant-based way of working. I have resolved to keep notes that include your blood pressure going down also. That's awesome. And the reboot recommends some form of activity every day. Yeah, and I really have, for me, focused a lot of my increased activity just in having a more active daily life. I have lots of things that in the past I would have let somebody else take care of or put off for, as long as I could, so that I dealt with it the fewest number of times. And now I have definitely picked up on my activity and taking care of things and getting out and doing a lot of work. But and as I get closer to my goals, I may see that I need to increase the activity, but I'm going to keep pushing it through diet for now. So I guess I didn't go over food since yesterday. I keep pulling this up, but I don't actually do it. So the first food picture I took here, I took because I realized I never take any fruit photos. So I just took a picture of a couple cutie oranges that I had. I also had an apple last night and some bananas. I felt actually pretty snacky last night, and the only snack food we had in the house was fruit, which is wonderful. So I snacked on the fruit that we had in the house. And then yesterday, even though it was not Monday, we had our mega veggie chili for dinner yesterday. This is the second week in a row we've had mega veggie chili on Tuesday. I think maybe that is what is messing up my body and why I've gained all the weight, is that our routine has changed and we didn't have mega veggie chili on Monday. That's what I'm going to blame it on. Is the mega veggie chili. It's the chili's fault. I think we didn't have red peppers, but it was still a great recipe, and it was a great meal to have for dinner last night. Then for breakfast today, I had oatmeal with spinach, onions, mushrooms, and a mix of oat groats and steel cut oats. And then I did not take a picture of the broccoli I had for breakfast, but I did have broccoli for breakfast. And for lunch, I had some potatoes and broccoli. Surprise, surprise. Potatoes and broccoli for lunch. So that was the food that I have had since yesterday. Really just kind of same routine, same food that we always eat. And I love it. You know, I talk about it all the time that, you know, the broccoli and potatoes. So today in particular, carry through the potatoes in the Instapot at whatever, 10 a.m. this morning in the office. And I had to walk through the break room a few times this morning. And every time I walked through, it just smelled like baked potatoes in the office, even though we were cooking them in the Instapot. And just that smell, it made me so hungry. Like I had stuff I had to do, and I was like, oh, you know, I should just stop and eat. And that's 940 days into this diet, and having potatoes for lunch nearly every single day for at least the past 2 years. And that is not anything I've ever experienced with any diet that I've ever had in the past. Jay here says, gotta do more potato meals. They are only 400 calories a pound. Beans are 600, grains are 500 calories a pound. Mary's Mini is potato for every meal for 10 days. Yeah, it's the calorie density. You know, we did the Chef AJ's reboot, and one of the things we changed is we added the broccoli to our diet. So I eat 12, or it's 10 or 12. I think it's 12 ounces of steamed broccoli. I have that for breakfast, and I have another 12 ounces for lunch. And the volume of that and the calories of that broccoli is so low that it helps me with the overall calorie density of my diet. And over time, that is going to create a calorie deficit, which is going to result in weight loss. And so, yeah, it's really focusing on calorie density and trying to get your overall density of everything you eat in the day as low as possible, but also keeping the volume up. Like that's the important part, is that you satisfy the volume, the need for volume that your body has. Because if you chronically undereat, eventually your body is going to crash and you're going to binge. Just like if you chronically undersleep, your body's going to crash and you're going to have issues. And so, you know, make sure you're eating, just change the calorie density of the food that you're eating. So the other thing that I guess I wanted to talk about in the live stream today, I talked about it a little bit on the weigh-in video, and it's kind of a topic that comes up every time that I have a gain on the scale. And that is the idea of staying married to my diet. When I started this challenge, I had no idea what I was going to do to lose all of the weight. I knew that I wanted to start by doing a water fast, and I had it in my mind that I was going to do a very long water fast, and then I was going to start trying to do periods of time where I fast for a couple days at a time, or maybe fast for 5 days and eat on just the weekends. And so I had it in my head, the diet that I was going to start doing. And I did. I water fasted. I had a great time while I was water fasting, but I learned a lot while water fasting, and I did a lot of research, and I realized what I wanted in my diet was not what water fasting was going to provide for me. Water fasting was a great start. It was a great way for me to get going and get the confidence that I need and get the additional the initial weight loss that I needed off so that I could focus on my health and not be so concerned on my physical problems that I was having because I was 500 pounds. Once I got down to 400 pounds, I'd be able to handle life a little bit easier. And so when I look back on, all my dieting history, and if I think of it as, sort of like instead of my dieting history, but my dating history, like I was dating diets over the years. Since I was 18 years old, I've dated 20 different types of diets. At 18 or 19 years old, I was taking a product called Advocare that had ephedra in it. And it was this pill system that you took pills before breakfast and before lunch and at dinner even. I think it was insane. It was like 20 pills a day that you took. And there was fish oil and all the daily vitamins that you need and all kinds of crazy crap. Anyways, but I dated that diet for 6 months, and then that diet changed. They didn't allow it to have ephedra in it anymore. And it would just be like the person I was dating, if they all of a sudden they just completely changed. If they went from, I don't even know, but it just, it, it but it happened. And it's an experience that I had with that. And then I fast forward and I start doing low carb diets, and I go, Atkins diets to the keto diets and those things. And I start mixing the dieting with the exercise. So the next diet that I start dating is a low volume, low carbohydrate, high exercise diet. And I did that for a while, and I lost 90 pounds and I enjoyed it, but I couldn't handle it. I couldn't keep up with the diet. It was too much. And so, after that, I tried going the pill route again. I tried going back and taking phentermine, and I lost a bunch of weight doing that. And, again, I couldn't, it was exhausting. That diet was exhausting and I couldn't maintain it. I couldn't keep up with it. And so really at that point in 2014, I quit. I just gave up and I just ate whatever diet I felt like eating. And my diet became extremely toxic and abusive, essentially. And it just like you can have a toxic and abusive relationship. And so starting this challenge was me getting out of that horrible relationship that I was in with my diet. And it was finding a new relationship and something that was going to help me live longer instead of send me down this path of despair that that the way of eating was taking me. And so I start fasting. I start dating a new diet essentially. And I say, okay, I'm not going to date this toxic diet that's full of calories and oil and fat and horrible things. And I'm going to fast, or I'm going to quit dating, essentially is what I said. I'm giving up on the dating scene. I'm giving up on the diet. I'm stopping my diet. I'm ceasing to eat. And then after I fasted, I did the research and I started eating this whole food plant-based diet. And I was nervous when I started eating this way. I didn't think that it was going to be sustainable. I didn't understand the foods that I was going to be able to eat. I thought that it was going to be mushrooms and onions and lettuce and beans and would be boring and I wouldn't enjoy the diet at all. But after I, put up with the diet for the first couple weeks and started to have my taste buds adapt and change, then that's when I started to fall in love with this diet. And I realized within the first few months that this diet was different than all of the other diets that I had dated in the past. And that this diet allowed me to eat. It allowed me to feed into my natural instincts for volumes of food. I just had to choose the right foods to eat. And I realized that this is the diet that I am going to eat the rest of my life. It's not just a diet that I'm going to eat until I get to my weight loss. It's a diet that I can eat while I'm losing weight. I can eat this diet once I've lost the weight. And that was never a thought before. Every other diet that I dated, it was a temporary relationship from the beginning. I was never going to take Advocare my whole life. I was never going to take Phentermine my whole life. I was never going to go to the gym 5 times a week and eat a 1,000 calorie diet the rest of my life. And I knew that in those moments. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to keep up with that pace, but it was just to get to my goal weight. And then once I'm at my goal weight, I'll figure out what to do then. But so I never fully invested into the diet, because why would I invest anymore if I'm just going to quit it in the end? And so, that's where I realized that this is the diet that's for me. Just like Carrie's the woman that's for me, that I'm going to be with the rest of my life. And it's, just like our relationship has difficult moments, those difficult moments aren't, they're worth pushing through. They're not worth giving, it's worth sticking to the diet, because that commitment will show through. That the results will the results will happen if you stay committed to the diet. I truly believe that. And I'm going to continue to stay committed to this diet to prove that that's going to work. So, Plants Only Muncher says the dating marriage analogy is fantastic. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of different roads you can go down with it. But yeah, I'm not going to cheat on this diet. Like, I wouldn't cheat on my marriage. I'm not going to cheat on this diet, because this diet gives me everything I want. Like, it really does. Like, and there's nothing outside of my diet that is so appealing that it makes me want to screw up what I got going, and especially if that can cause, so many times in all my past diets, that cheat meal or that snacksident or whatever was the catalyst for the end of my diet. And, that's not the way I've been with this. So, Jay says, get a trainer to get more exercise. Yeah, I think that having a trainer is a great way to push yourself beyond what you would be able to push yourself on your own. The analogy I like to use with it is that if I told you to punch yourself in the leg, you're going to punch yourself, a certain hardness, but you're not going to punch as hard as if I said, punch me in the leg. And a trainer is, that other person punching you in the leg, that other person that's pushing you a little bit harder than you would push yourself. And so, yeah, it's, really good for that, for the motivation of it. Jean here says that she used to run. It never helped with weight loss. Then you got a Morton's neuroma. Oh, that's like something that happens, and that was the end of your running. The surgery was very painful. That sucks. And Jay says extreme exercise is dangerous. Yeah, it is appealing though. Some of that endurance stuff is really appealing to me. Just because it was so far from what I ever would have been able to do, But I also realized that it puts a huge toll on your body. I did that triathlon in 2021 and I was 320 to 330 pounds while I did that, and it beat me up. And I couldn't even run because I was so exhausted throughout the triathlon. Um, and let's see here. Gene says John Pierre, who stated our activity and movement needs to happen every day. Yeah, I mean, I really feel so good after like this weekend where I had so much going on this weekend. It was really amazing how it makes you feel. And I did that bike ride with my son, and you know, sweating and having that exercise does feel really good. So, so the I guess to wrap up with the staying married to your diet, stick to it. It's a commitment. It's a long-term commitment. It's not a short-term commitment. If you're doing a diet just to lose 10 or 20 pounds or just a short-term thing, that's absolutely something that people can do and people do. But I, am in this for the long run. I'm in it for the long haul. It was, when I started this, in my mind, I wanted to learn how the 220-pound version of Jonathan eats, the 220-pound version of me eats, and then I'm going to eat like that person every day the rest of my life. And eventually I'll become that 220-pound person. And eating a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet has allowed me to find a way to eat and be satisfied and eventually get me to being that 220-pound person that I want to get to. Gene here says, yes, it is a vow to your health. Yeah. And I think that's really what you have to do. I know that the scale and the numbers, it's real attractive to get focused on those and to measure your health by the scale because it's an easy way to measure it. But you need to focus on being healthier. You need to realize that the things you put in your body are going to affect your body more than any other thing in the world. Like the things you see, the things you hear, the things you feel, they don't affect your body nearly as much as the things you consume, the things that you eat. And that is what I've had to learn. I always kind of just thought a calorie was a calorie. I never understood nutrient density, like the Andy score that Dr. Fuhrman has, or calorie density, or, what they do to the foods when they process them. I never understood any of that stuff like I do now. And I'm so happy that I took the time to educate myself, to learn this diet. That's another thing too that I think some people do is you start dating a diet and you get lazy and you just kind of, you don't keep putting the effort into the diet. You first start doing the diet for the first week. You've cleaned out your cupboards. You've bought all new food. The second week, you've eaten through most of that food. You're going to replace it. And then you start replacing it with some junk. Or maybe I'll have this snack. I did lose 5 pounds this last week and a half. Maybe I can have that snack food. But you start to stop putting the work into the diet. You stop with the commitment isn't as strong. It's the luster of the diet is worn off. Maybe you lost a bunch of weight in the first week, but then it slowed down in the second week. But that's something I didn't do this time. My whole goal was to keep putting effort into my diet. If I would have started eating a plant-based diet, and 4 weeks in or a month in, I wasn't seeing the weight loss, or I wasn't feeling as good as I was feeling, I would have changed my diet. I would have gone, or I would have, and I did make some changes throughout the past 900 days, but the changes have been, subtle changes within kind of the whole food plant-based world. Ichigo says, you tried our savory oatmeal. It is very good. You cooked oatmeal in vegetable stock with onions, broccoli, and bell peppers. Yeah, it would be probably good with broccoli, cauliflower, and there would probably be good as well. We've had it with zucchini. I've liked it with that. Bell peppers actually sounds like that'd be pretty good. Yeah, just having savory oats for breakfast, I really enjoy it. That's awesome. Jay says, to keep up on your water, it flushes out the salt and water retention. Yes, I have lots of water I drink every single day. I usually have a couple bottles of water just on my ride home, and then I get lots of water through the fruits that I eat as well. But yeah, eventually, yeah, it's crazy to me how quickly I can retain the salt, though, or how quickly the salt causes me to retain weight. But yeah, you got to put effort into the diet. You have to continue to put effort into the diet. And because the diet keeps sending me back this healthy feeling, I am willing to keep putting the effort into the diet. I get to go to bed satisfied with the amount of food I eat. I get to go to bed satisfied with the food I choose to eat. And it's something that I've not had in past diets. In past diets, I've gotten very sick of the food that I was eating. And, I think that's a product of, under eating, compulsively under eating, and then your body gets to a point where it's like, well, if we're going to under eat, why are we choosing to eat this? Why wouldn't we choose something else? Jay says, it's summertime. We crave more salt and water from the sweating. Yes, you can, you'll get a lot of cravings for the fluid and the sodium, or to retain the salt, I suppose. So yeah, I kept putting the work in. I kept reading new books. I kept listening to new podcasts and new YouTube videos, and continuing to educate myself and investing in my relationship with my diet. In the past, I've read diet books here and there. I can think of a few different diet books I've read, but I just read that one diet book, and then that diet book became my manual for how to live. And so then I only had this resource that was maybe 100 pages or 200 pages long, and it didn't explain everything. It didn't go into depth for different parts of the biology of the diet. And the way I've chosen to eat, there's a huge amount of information out there about eating a plant-based diet, and there's wonderful books that you can choose from to educate yourself. But I didn't just, I did listen to the Pleasure Trap multiple times, but I didn't just listen to the Pleasure Trap book. I listened to that. I listened to Fit for Life, and the Campbell's books and Gregor's books, and all these books that I continued to read and educate, to learn and to understand more, so I could be a better plant-based dieter, I guess. Karen here says, your biggest issue these days is salt. You don't cook with it or add it afterwards, but you do use a handful of store-bought things that have salt in it. Yes. And we do have a hard time avoiding it with the beans. And we just try to rinse them the best we can. But yeah, that is the hardest part about this diet and living in the world that we live in is the amount of salt that is in everything. And it's wild to me. Like, there's so many, like really with the salt and the oil, or no, I'm sorry, the sugar and the oil, I could convince anybody to stop eating sugar or stop eating oil. Or everybody has heard of reasons to stop eating sugar and stop eating oil. But salt just gets a pass. And I think it's crazy that we give it a pass, and that we don't realize that salt is not just one form of a uh element. I guess there's 40 different types of salt, and they all have a different effect on your taste buds and on your body. And so um and you look at like what they put in these diet sodas and things like that. There's a lot of sodium in those, and it's just not something that I think that we were meant to process at such a large volume. I'm sure that if we would have found salt, we would have held on to it or stuck by it as long as possible. But I don't think for a vast majority of our population, for a vast majority of our history, we had near the access to salt that we have now. And it's crazy that people don't, there's not a lot of people saying just to not eat salt, except for me and Dr. Goldhamer and Dr. Lisle. But it's crazy. Let's see. Karen says beans are an issue, either organic beans with salt or non-organic without salt. Yeah, it's kind of it sucks that our food system is the way that it is, because it would be wonderful to be able to get things untouched, but they also have to be able to ship the food, and they have to make it worth it for themselves, I guess. But yeah. And so I think I am gonna get out of here for today. I got started late because of work. I should be live tomorrow. I don't see any reason why I won't be live tomorrow. I might even be at 4 p.m. tomorrow. We'll see how late the jobs go at work. So yeah, it is frustrating to have the scale go up today, but it is not the end of the world. Me and my whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet are still going to continue to be married. I'm not letting it go that easily. It may take a week or might take 3 weeks for me to get rid of this, few pounds that I've gained over the last couple of weeks, but the weight's going to come off. Nothing that I've put in my body in the past 2 weeks has made me less healthy. And that is the big point that I hold on to throughout all of this, is even if the scale isn't weighing me right because the earth is not rotating at the right speed today. The earth slowed down and now it caused me to weigh in 2 pounds heavier. That, yeah, it happens, but it's not a big deal. So yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate all you guys, all of the support, and it helps me keep going. It helps keep me accountable. It helps keep me from making those bad choices and getting frustrated with the scale and flipping the table over, and just saying, screw it. If I can't see success, then, every week, then there's no reason to keep on going. You got to get out of that mindset. You got to realize that you are an amateur trying to become a professional, and it'll take the rest of your life to become a professional. So anyways, or I guess with my dating, you're in a marriage, and it's going to take the rest of your life to stay married to your diet for the rest of your life. Right? You can't stay married to your diet for the rest of your life if you don't stay married to it for the rest of your life. So yeah, I'm out of here. Thank you guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, get subscribed to the channel. I can't believe you're watching this an hour in and you're not subscribed. Crazy. If you haven't, hit the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. I definitely recommend you do that. I would love it if you hit the thumbs up video on here as well. And I would really, really love it if you stopped waiting to start your diet. If you're waiting, quit it. Get started right now. There's no reason to wait. Nobody who reaches their goals looks back and wishes they would have waited. So get started now, guys. And you guys all have a great evening. We'll talk to you later.